a few questions every week about how to assess properties and what are the first things you should do before you get too far down the rabbit trail of spending a lot of time, which is the most unrenewable resource of your entire life and therefore the most precious. And so, one of the key things I always look at is what you think the project is worth, calculating 30% cash equity of what you think the project is worth, and then taking 75% of whatever that loan value is and creating that as your net worth requirement. And essentially, what this is going to help you do. Let's say you're doing a $10 million deal. You're going to roughly need about, I would just conservatively say, $3 million in cash, and you're going to need a net worth of at least $5 or $6 million to be able to make this deal happen. Now you can do a lot of planning and you can pay for architects and everything else, but if you don't have those core elements on the front end, it becomes really hard to be able to do anything on the back end to be able to execute the deal. There's a lot of deals that come up with really innovative ideas and they're great. I've seen tons of phenomenal projects, and innovation doesn't mean a dang thing unless you can actually execute. So on the front end, take 30%. That's what you need in cash, because you got to be able to have a down payment as well as you need to be able to have some cash on the side. So especially with construction, it's not even close to what you can get for residential long-term when you've got, or even multifamily commercial. It doesn't matter. Like if you got a producing asset that makes cash and cash flow, you're going to be able to do a lot more things. But when you are building a project, it's a lot more complicated. And the biggest thing, if it's going to unsettle your financial peace, don't do it. Don't do it alone, at least. Find some great people who believe in you, believe in the vision, and have an awesome team of people that essentially you can point to and you can say, I don't know everything about how I'm going to do it, but this is who I'm working with, and they have done this for decades. And that's the whole process to be able to go through, because if you can't put that nut together in the front end, you're going to waste a lot of time and you're going to go through a process and you're going to end up maybe with some blueprints, maybe with some information from the city, but you're not going to be able to know comfortably what you're going to be able to have, actually in the bank for yourself, for your family, and what you're actually going to be able to create, because the requirements are there. You don't need to work with a broker to get to the end and figure out this is what I'm going to need. Be super conservative. Say you need 40% of the total cash in hand to do the project. You got a $10 million deal. Do you have $4 million cash? Do you have a $6 million 100% loan guarantee on a net worth capacity? And do you have assets that are actually desirable? Or are they like Uncle Bob's farm in northern BC that's on paper worth $3 million, but the likelihood of someone buying it, there's a small buyer's list. Banks and lenders, especially private lenders, want higher liquidity assets, essentially things that can be put on sale for a fire sale to be sold if there ever was an issue, so that the bank or the lender gets their money back and can de-risk the deal. And if you can't create that environment that it's a bankable deal for a lender and an investor, you're going to be spending a lot of time wasting your time and not really having any measurable return back. So again, use a 40% rule for cash in hand. You can figure that out later. Your job is to value engineer all these costs down so that you're spending less money and you're retaining more equity. And then you're knowing what your net worth requirements are to be able to get the loan to be able to do it. It's the same thing if you're going to buy a property. You got to have a net worth to be able to buy the property. Now, there are some variances with different lenders that you can obviously figure out with their different lending institutions when it comes to creating an environment with CMHC, with MLI Select program. It's a little bit different. With commercial, it's a little bit different. With self-occupied space, if you're a business, especially if you're a medical doctor, it's a little bit different again with bankers, and there's lots of different avenues that you can go down. But if you don't have those core things up front, and you can't start with the end in mind and reverse engineer the deal, I'm telling you, you're going to waste so much of your time. You might learn, which is great, but you're going to spend just so much time going and getting to the end of it, and then realizing that you're going to need more cash, because the level of creative financing that maybe you've done in the past, you've seen people do, with residential real estate, you don't really get that opportunity in commercial new build development worlds unless you are well connected, you're well established, and you've done deals like this before, and you've got some assets that can be forfeited if there is a big error to a lender where they need to get their money back out of the deal, because the deal is just too innovative. Like heart surgery, big fan, saved my grandpa years ago, and I still wouldn't be the first person like 1897 to be going under the table, and